wanting this women's shelter to take off.
One what?
Major donor.
Wants the women's shelter to take off.
Women's shelter. Okay.
Because we don't have one, we basically are men's only shelter right now.
Okay.
And there's not a lot in Springfield area for women.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a couple shelters for women and children, but that's it. We have a major donor that gave us a nice deposit towards getting the ball rolling again.
Oh, wow.
So we're almost at the point now, we're probably in September, before it's on board with it, we're being launching our feasibility study and that kind of thing.
Okay. Tremendous.
I think some of them they want to feel that they're connected. I think some of them have a hard time identifying exactly what their specific passion might be, but they have a general understanding of the blight in our community.
Mm-hmm.
Springfield is a mess. And so if they're longtime Spring natives, they look at that and think, how did this happen? They think what we all think. And then how do I take my resources and make a difference?
Right.
So if we can find ways to show them that this actually makes a difference, that what we're doing, it does make a difference, they like that. But that's, again, they want the result, the impact.
Right.
They want that.
They want to know that.
They want to know that.
Yeah.
They're not just satisfied with, give me your financials. It's no. How did this impact a life? How many lives are you changing? What are they doing now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are they not camped out on the corner, but they're in jobs, being, contributing members?
Yes. Yeah. Brian, you probably have a unique perspective being a support but you also do ministry without shelters in Hawaii. So what's your thought on donor passion and interests?
Well, as everybody knows, there's the monthly donors and then there's major donors. You were asking about major donors, and it's, how are you going to change lives?
Yeah.
The monthly donors are how you're going to feed and shelter.
Mm-hmm.
In our case, we don't do either of them. We do help them.
You do serve them. Yeah.
Well, we do have food because another agency comes with us.
Right.
So, and then we have all the other agencies that come out and do ministry around our trailer. So that's the monthly givers, and then the major givers are, how are you going to change lives? What are you going to do when they want to get into recovery?
Right.
There's no recovery on the island.
Yeah.
So
there's no recovery on the island?
There's no recovery in the state except on Kauai, and it's $1,500 to $3,000 a month. There's no recovery program. There's silver living, but there are no recovery programs in the state of Hawaii.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
That's the big thing we're going
Very interesting. So a couple of the highlights that kind of keep growing here and turning out: hospitality, recovery, evangelism. Got a little bit of outreach there, right? And so in identifying those passions and those interests, I don't have an answer for you other than an encouragement to say, find out those niches, right, and build on them. Build on them. What is it, some things that you can do? And I'm going to show you as we go into projects and development, one of the niches that Reverend Lehman has built upon that, like I said, I have been commissioned or charged with overseeing as we go forward here. Here's another good quote for you. This is Tony Poderis, and this is, how large should a development staff be, right? That's the golden rule, the magic question. We want to know how big can, and you hear some individuals, like Ellie, she says she does it all, and then you hear of others that are like 20, 30 deep, and you're like, oh my goodness, how did they do that? American Red Cross or whatever. But he says, obviously, the more different types of fundraising initiatives undertaken by an organization, the more varied will be the expertise needed within that development department. So, what makes a projects and development department different? Before I answer that, real quick, who works with volunteers at your mission? You can answer it on your phone, or you can just shout it out. Who works with volunteers? Okay, so you probably gave me a better question. Who manages volunteers? Is it development?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You bring them in, but then again, there's times when they come in, it's the program staff who welcomes them in. Case in point, Cold Station, when they come in and feed breakfast in the morning, it's the men's staff who welcomes them in the morning, on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Or when church, like say, if Journey comes in and feed dinner in the evening, the men's staff, y'all put it together, but when they come in, we greet them.
Yeah.
So basically, it's all hands effort.
It is an on-hands effort. Primarily, as we see here, most development departments are tasked with managing, and then, some of that gets farmed out to other departments. The primary element that is different for us is this word right here, events. We do not do traditional galas and brunches and, get-togethers, fundraising type events. What is unique is that, and Jana talked about it a little bit earlier, we actually, under our wheelhouse is community outreach. I don't know if your development departments are set up that way or not, but what we do is, as a development team, we are tasked with putting together the plan for the community outreach. So we have 5 annual events that we coordinate and do, and they're not necessarily designed to be fundraisers or to raise funds, but to really cultivate relationship among volunteers that would in turn, right, going back to that interest, Reverend Lehman has developed this concept of evangelism, and that has been his niche, right, which it is for all of our gospel rescue missions. But everything in which we do, he does it in the context of evangelistic. And so we are tasked with promoting those evangelistic outreach events and gathering the volunteers and the resources needed to make them happen. Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, just let me throw in, those events still cost money, and it's Jackie for the most part that ends up finding the money for us to pay for those.
Right.
Because it's corporate sponsorship.
Right. So one of the things that we've really developed, which, I mean, it was little when you first came into the role as corporate relations, we would write a grant or two to help us with our back-to-school rally. We had a partnership with a local bank that would give us cause-related marketing for our food box outreach. But what has transpired within probably, I would say, the last 2 years more so, right? 3, is the concept of sponsorship and beginning to raise more people. Like, to Jackie's credit, one of the things that just happened, she sent out a letter to some lapse donors that run corporations and asked them to sponsor our basketball. Now, not everybody responded, but she did get a very nice sponsorship from somebody that was lapsed. They gave us like $400, $500 in total.
It was an interesting exercise, because I learned that there was a donor who said, I find these amounts uninspiring.
So going back to passions and interests.
Yeah, it was uninspiring. And he's like, I really would have appreciated a shot at the top level, which was 2,600. Yeah. Well, that never occurred.
Because the donor had lapsed.
He had lapsed. So he's going to write us a check for 1,500.
Can I ask a question? What was the communication in that letter? What was the ask? Was it just, hey, we're doing this, we love your support, or was there a dollar amount associated with it?
There was a dollar amount.
There was ranges.
Like levels.
Yeah, here's.
Right.
Yeah,
Alright.
And they were very modest, you know, again, it was 350, well, the top guy gave 2,600, then it was, $350 and $150. Yes, I lowball.
Yeah.
I lowballed it, no idea how this is gonna work. So I threw it out there, and that was kind of the response. And
Yeah.
honestly, people are not following those tiers.
Right. They're just
writing a
giving.
check.
Yeah.
It's something that has pricked their heart, and
Yeah.
it's a passion and interest of theirs, and so they're giving.
100?
At the very top, but it was like marked out because we had a sole sponsor who we called the Slam Dunk
Slam
sponsor.
Dunk exclusive sponsor with basketball camp.
Right.
So,
Oh, gotcha.
yeah.
So rather than just should have kept it without the markings on it, so it looks like it's.
Yeah.
It
could.
Either way, it could have been.
Yeah.
you
Right.
never know.
Well, it'll be different next year.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the lesson that we learned. Yeah. It'll be
So
different.
we should ask, if we're not asking you for enough money, you can always give us
Yes,
more.
yes, yes.
Go ahead. Hold on. Ryan, go ahead.
What's the purpose of the event? And if you have 5 of them, is it all the same purpose?
So let's see. So we have basketball, which is a youth event for children 9 through 11. They get 3 hours of instructional play of basketball for 5 days, plus we provide them lunch. Now, during that, we have Christian coaches that are working with them, so there's encouragement. There's devotions that happen daily, so we are feeding them the Word of God. Reverend Lehman does a presentation and gives an invitation to receive Christ during that week. So it is evangelistic in its nature and its approach.
So you're not trying to raise large donors, you're trying to just put on an event.
Put on in the event
So
and
are any
support
of the
it.
events for large donors? Because you said you don't do banquets.
No. So then we have, so that's basketball. We do our back to school rally, which is a corporate sponsor. So that will cost us probably an upwards of
You
like
don't need to go through
20,000.
all. My question was, is it for major donors? What events do you do for major donors? Any?
None.
You all do. You do it one-on-one, face-to-face.
Yeah, and even that.
Yeah.
I mean, some of my major donors don't really have time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're corporate people, they just don't have a lot of time to give me this.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Okay, that answers my question.
All right, good. So let's keep moving. We're almost out of time here, and I don't want to hold you guys too long. But there are, as we know, in fundraising, there are pitfalls, right? There, and the interesting thing, like as I was thinking about this guy here, he had 32 treasures that he had to collect in the game within a 20-minute period. And there was always barrels, and there was, sand and quicksand and alligators and all kinds of stuff. And I'm sure that many of us have experienced that. And here's the key or the takeaway with this whole mindset of incorporating these special projects is that you have to be flexible. And one of the major pitfalls is time management, right? And priorities. What is the priority? And so, yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Just curious, back in the thinking about what Brian is, do y'all have like a golf tournament or anything
No.
like that?
What did you say, you had 5?
Yep.
What are the 5? That
You
was-
said basketball then.
Okay, so we do a basketball camp for children 9 through 11. We do a back to school rally, which provides backpacks and has an evangelistic message for children K through 8. We do a Great Thanksgiving food drive and outreach where we will give out food boxes with the turkey the Monday and Tuesday before Thanksgiving. That's anybody, individual and families who have a household.
Do you normally do food boxes?
We do. In addition to that, we manage food boxes as well. We do a Christmas shop. So then those, or I missed one, the banquet. We have a Thanksgiving banquet where we host, and it's open to the community. Anybody can come to the Thanksgiving banquet. Seats up to about 600. There has been higher numbers. But that is in tandem that once again he has another opportunity at each of these events. So like with the food boxes, we're sitting down doing interviews with people and actually presenting the gospel individually to each person that's coming in. For the banquet, it's large gathering, so there's a gospel presentation inviting people to receive Christ. People who come to the banquet bring their children. They can then come and get Christmas gifts. Now that one is a little unique in that we actually put together, Bruce did a great job with this, we put together a little one-page flyer that presents the gospel. So we could give it to the families right there. Yes?
I'm just curious, why does that negate the other, we do almost all the same thing. The one you didn't do, we don't do the basketball. We
Okay.
do similar things to this. But we also have a golf tournament, we have a banquet, we have shooting,
Yeah.
shooting events, and other events. I'm curious, why would that negate the other?
So his philosophy and what, I mean, even the stuff that I've read a lot of times, and maybe these are great events for you that do generate, but a lot of times there's a lot of investment and very little return from those events.
For us, what's the return of the earned media as well?
Right. You get the news coverage. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
One thing to add to that. Okay, one thing just to add to that, since we're talking about events, do you guys, I'm just curious, as a mission, do you guys participate in the Hunger and Homelessness Week in October, or sorry, November of every year with the National Coalition and all that?
No.
So we did that this year, or this last year, where we actually did a whole week with collaboration with our other nonprofit partners. So I was just curious if you, number one, had participated in that. Every year in November, it's Hunger and Homelessness Week, nationally. Yeah, so we joined the national campaign and we were, I guess, one of the top 5 missions that was doing great things with media. You're talking about media coverage, but like what we gained from that was
Right.
a lot. Because people, it was about the awareness of the homeless issue that we're seeing in our city and nationally.
Yeah.
So it's always in November every year, just FYI.
That's a good point.
Just wanted to
That's good.
throw that out there. If you're
Yeah.
playing it with something, it makes it a lot more beneficial
Mm.
as an organization, because you're tying, you know, if you can tie it, if it makes sense, actually. So
Awesome.
that's just some thoughts.
Another thing Pastor Alex mentioned also, this to, for the Thanksgiving basket is an annual event, but then again, bi-monthly, we do food box giveaways. People can call up and ask for a
Right.
food box every, for the second weekend of the month, second and fourth Saturday of the month, we give away food box to anybody who comes to get them. And even then, when they come and get the food box, we evangelize them as well. Every event that's done at Sunday Purpose Mission, evangelism is ahead of everything. That's what Reverend Lambert wants to put out there. Spread the
Awesome.
gospel.
Yep. All right. So, real quick, if anybody can tell me, little commercial break here. What was the character's name in the Atari game Pitfall?
Joe
I got
something.
candy. Huh?
Please, Joe something. Amazon Joe.
Anybody? Google it? No idea. All right, I got one more question for you later. His name was Harry, Pitfall Harry. All right. So, example, Great Thanksgiving, food outreach, we pretty much discussed that. Dynamic department roles. These are the roles that make up what happens at Sunday Breakfast Mission. And so, with our Great Thanksgiving Food Box outreach, the Development Department Director oversees plans, markets, the Projects and Development Assistant carries it out, which, I mean, this is all pretty much what you guys do and know. I think one of the unique things that happens with us is, like Bruce and Jackie are tasked with not just getting the volunteers in, but they also work with them. So they get to know them and the volunteers get to know who they are and they'll connect with them. And the other unique piece is that they, although they're under traditional roles, they would be considered major gift officers. They really focus, Jackie focuses on corporations and businesses. Bruce works with churches to get volunteers from the churches. And I don't know about your missions if you get a lot of support from churches, but we have a healthy base of churches that are really dialed in to the mission. And some of the unique things that happened just this year, Jackie working with Chase Bank volunteers, there was 2 years that they, on their own, supported the mission through an in-house Giving Tuesday campaign that they directed directly to us and didn't even tell us about it. And then from that, this year, we got notice that this same group of people then nominated us for a grant gift from Chase, so that the corporation gave money to that group, and that group said, oh, we're going to give it to Sunday Breakfast Mission, right?
So,
You want to?
That's it. Yeah, and it really, it was organic within this
Right.
corporation. They
Yeah.
are a block from us, so that helps.
That helps.
Yeah,
That
it does help.
That helps.
Right.
But over the summer, we gave, I think they overall volunteered maybe 250 hours.
And she
over a
worked with them.
9-month period, yeah. Yeah, they were just coming in and coming in.
Right.
So that was something else that was impactful for them. And they came in, and you know the work it takes to run volunteers.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta be organized and on top of things, so.
Right. And to Bruce's credit, there was a church, a strong church, that would always support our food box giveaway with annual collection and drive of food. And I mean, they would fill our van. I mean, just tremendous. And this was year over year, but financially had not really given much. And this year, the pastor called up Bruce and said, hey, and I'm not sure, was it a special offering that they did? Or
They had a Christmas initiative where they had 5 different organizations, and we were one of the 5.
right.
And they gave us collection.
Yeah. And so they came down to the mission and gave $22,000, and they hadn't even normally given. So, I mean, these little elements of, like I have a lot of conversations with these guys. I really need to get out there. I need to write the letter. I need to connect. And I'm like, this is Reverend Lehman's, focus, and this is our focus. And so we've got to balance, and we trade off within our department as best we can, but they really take ownership of what happens. And through that process, we're beginning to see the fruits of their labor because they are making those connections and finding out what the passions and the interests are of just our volunteers on these levels. Some of you may know this name, came across this article, Yvonne Brake. She is the development director of Haven and Rest, another rescue mission, longtime rescue mission worker. And in her, I forget, it was in the AFP article that I read it, Yvonne said, innovation and need are 2 elements that can create fundraising opportunities that reap substantial rewards. And I think we see that in the context of just day in, day out, working with the volunteers, managing that project, even to the point of individuals coming in and then later coming back and supporting financially once they get the feel and know us a little more. So it is 3:09. So just a couple quick last minute questions. I got 2 candy bars up here. Oh, let me go back. Here we go. Can you answer this one? Who said do or do not? There is no try.
Yoda.
There we go. What do you want, Twix or
Twix.
Twix?
Wait, did he type it in?
Well, he didn't. I mean, some people are typing, some people are not.
Yeah, we're trying to behave.
I think every episode is 1 to 9.
I'm trying to be fair to everybody. All right. I'm a softie, so you have to understand. All right, so Ellie's winning the lead. All right. So we'll give Ellie M&Ms? Yeah?
Sure, I'll do whatever.
All right.
I'm not thinking.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right. And just to wrap up, I just want to encourage you. This is a verse that the Lord gave to me many, many, many many moons ago, and I try to live by it. I'm sure each of you have those verses that you try to live by. And it's Proverbs 21:5. The plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. And so our response should be that, as being diligent, right? Trying to move forward in what we can. So when you are committed to doing, there will be times when you get hit hard